What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Wuthering Waves gameplay trailer. These actually just dropped last night. This dropped out of nowhere, but all of the really cool stuff that Wuthering Waves has been just like kind of shoving out over the past 2 days has been amazing to see, and I'm very excited to learn more about the game. In the meantime, I want to fully break down the trailer, talk about what we can expect and what things are looking like for the game going forward. Of course, when we do have more information about the game, I'll continue to make videos about what kind of things to expect, but for now, we're just going to break down the gameplay trailer and talk about what we're looking at. First off, we're just going to watch it through. It's about 55 seconds long. It's super short. This looks so dang cool. So the character that looks like they're gonna be probably either the main protagonist or like a main character we have to pay attention to. Right off the bat, we have tilted towers from Fortnite, wall running. This stuff looks sick. We'll go back through and we'll break it down piece by piece, but look at this. The combat looks amazing just right off the bat. Obviously, a lot of this is subject to change, but this looks a lot more in-depth than a lot of other anime RPG games we've taken a look at. Oh my god. All right, so that's the Wuthering Waves gameplay trailer. So let's go back through and let's take each part on its own. So first off, you have this kind of like desolate looking land. You can assume that this is going to be something later on in the game, but this is a very story driven game. As you can probably tell if you've seen the CG trailer, it kind of just shows like a whole bunch of stuff happening, main character running, lots of really cool stuff, right? And so like you can tell it's going to be a story driven game to some extent. So this is probably something towards the end or some kind of important cutscene just dealing with the story. And that looks like either a flashback or like a future kind of thing that the main character is going to be seeing. And then moving on ahead. Right here, we get to this frame. It is absolutely beautiful. So something that, I'm a Genshin Impact channel. So something that Genshin Impact does a lot is when they're trying to show off an area, they'll like zoom out and they'll show like a cliffside, or they'll show like some kind of overhead view of everything. And that's exactly what this game is doing. Now, Genshin has very vibrant colors. This game also has the similar deal. They're not quite as like bright and vibrant as Genshin, but I actually like it a little bit more in this because it kind of tells me that there's going to be more like adult themes, darker themes, even more realistic kind of things happening in the game. And like right off the bat, if you look over here, you can see like a city, kind of where I'm circling with my mouse. You can see some broken down stuff here over on the left. You can see roads, which means that this is like pretty modern stuff. And right off the bat, we can also tell that this is likely going to be an open world game. Honestly, they probably have already told us. Let me check. Okay, I can't find on the site anything about that specifically, but you can probably assume it's going to be an open world game. Like, look at these areas. Right? Okay, so like just things like this, they very much look like it's going to be kind of an open world exploration game. But anyways, back to the trailer. It doesn't look like it's going to be linear like a lot of other games we've seen. So I'm very excited about that. Kind of slow pan out. And then here we have the tilted towers. No, honestly, this is like really sick. So again, it's showing that it's kind of like modern, right? We have modern day buildings, streets, and we also have some like high tech looking things, as well as these lush green environments on the outside as well. So amazingly, like imagine if you're just like running around the open world and then you come into this city and there's no loading zones or anything. You can just walk around freely. There's NPCs everywhere. That would be really cool. It also could be possible that this town is completely abandoned, but I'm assuming it's not. I don't know. We won't know until the game's out. And then after that, we get to see kind of like, it looks like a snowy area, but it might just be white grass even. And then there's like this lavender looking plant, brush stuff, some rocky areas as well. Characters running around. So yeah, open world it's looking like. Back here a little bit. This looks a little bit like there was some kind of big impact here. Something that the story will probably flesh out and tell us a little bit more about. And then in the background, you can see more of this greenery. So the world building that they're doing right now is really cool because you're getting to see all these like awesome new areas. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Look at this. Okay, for like just in like these frames, there's so much to dissect, right? So first off, you have wall running. It's not wall climbing. Wall climbing is completely different because that's something where it's like, okay, you have like your stamina bar and you slowly go up bit by bit. This means that you have much more freedom of motion, assuming that this is something that every character or every player can do. If you're able to wall run, that means that traveling is going to be a lot smoother and faster, assuming that it's done well. And then it looks like a double jump, but I'm not 100% sure because it only happens once in the trailer. But if there is double jumping, that could be really cool. Again, could be a character specific thing. And then going back here, when they make a jump, they have this tether that kind of comes out, this like electric looking tether thing. And I'm not sure if they're swinging or if it's just, again, like another jump, but it looks really, really cool. And it looks like they'll be able to traverse lands with it. And then right after that, they pull out like a glider thing. That's pretty standard for like any anime RPG that's released in the past little bit. Like Genshin took that kind of idea from Breath of the Wild, and then everyone's taken that from Genshin. So it's all coming together really well. I do like that it's not exactly the same thing. You're gonna hold your two arms above and have a little glider. It's like an umbrella. It's pretty neat. And then over here, we have this thing on the back. I'm assuming that this is either a gear piece or like a quest item. But this will be really interesting to find out what it is. We don't see anything yet. Maybe it's just grenades, or maybe they summoned whatever that was. It looks like it has legs. Did they like summon something? I don't know. It looks like it could be like some kind of summoning mechanic, but I honestly have no idea because the screen just grays out, flashes white before we get to the next area. So unfortunately, we can't really go into that too much. Yeah, again, we have the wall running, but then they transition into combat. Look at this. Okay, this is like one of the smoothest transitions I've seen in a game, from going from a world traversal into like a plunging thing. And this is coming from Kuro Game. Kuro Game is actually the company that released Punishing Gray Raven, which, if you don't know, now, like a little bit after release, the game is fantastic. The combat is extremely fluid, very, very detailed and intense, and I really like that about Punishing Gray Raven. So you can expect that sort of similarity here, I think, just based off of things like this, where you have the wall running transition into a plunging attack, and then you have a dodge, like it looks like a frame perfect dodge, and you kind of like blip out of existence for a second. Hold on, let's watch that in slow motion. Look at that. That is beautiful. I don't know if that is a frame perfect thing, but it certainly feels cool. And then you're gonna have a multitude of attacks. Here's your plunging. That is something I'm not sure about. The camera's following it, so character's over here. So maybe it's kind of a combo attack. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Let's go back just 1 second. Go over to the golem. There's a rushing ability, and then jumps up into the air, plunging attack down. And there's also this like electric arc field thing that goes out around. And that's super freaking nice. So I think that there's going to be a lot of diversity to the combat in this game. It already looks like there's more things you can do than in some games. Like if you're looking at Genshin Impact, you have your abilities, your plunging attacks, your charge attacks, your normal attacks, and like your ultimate, basically. And there's not much you can do outside of that. You have your elemental reactions, which are like pretty easy to understand and to make cool combat with. But this is going to be more based around combos, it looks like, and potentially gear. So it'll be really interesting to find out if there's something that can change your attack style. And also, okay, wait, let's go back just 1 second. This is a different character. So this indicates to me that, I mean, just based on Kuro Games' history, it's probably going to be a gacha. And, you know, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of gacha, and I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of gacha. However, the one thing that is nice about gacha is that they're free to play, you know, to some extent, right? Like you can get into the game. You don't have to get these characters to play the game. Maybe if there's some kind of high-end content, you will have to have like higher leveled versions of these characters or get specific characters later on, and that would be kind of disappointing, because I know in games like Genshin, like you can survive as a free to play, but fingers crossed that Kuro kind of knows what they're doing with this, and that it will be completely accessible to free to play who invest correctly or carefully into the game. But yeah, we're just assuming it's a gacha. I doubt that it's not a gacha with the way games like this are. This is kind of just like the standard that's been set. So yeah, you do see multiple characters and you do see different abilities, right? Like this looks like he's got some kind of ranged attack. This lady does some cool twirly stuff. She's very fast. She has after images. And then here, we'll go back to normal speed real quick, just so you can kind of see it in action. And like the combat looks really, really fluid. That looked like, was that an ultimate or a cutscene? See that this could be cool if it was like an ultimate or something. But it's probably a cutscene. Okay, and then here, this is one of the most interesting things to me. So like, obviously, like you have like a lava field here, you have like an icy area here, but you have a giant monster to fight. Now, this is like different from most other things we've seen in like a lot of anime games, because obviously we have our bosses and stuff, but if this is the kind of thing we're fighting out in the open world, this could be actually closer to Monster Hunter Rise than it could be to something like Genshin, or it could be a crossover between both. This gives me a lot of Monster Hunter Rise vibes, actually, and the game is really, really good. If you guys haven't checked that game out and you have the money to spend, I would definitely check out Monster Hunter Rise. I love the game. But yeah, it looks like they're gonna have their own interesting mechanics. Like you can see this person's face gets shattered. Not person, this turtle's face gets shattered here and they get stunned. Like you can see their head fly up and they're in pain, and you can hear a little bit of noise. I'm not gonna go back and replay it, but you can kind of see that happening. And here's another character. I kind of get Frederica vibes from ReZero from her. And then here's like kind of the main character. She looks very lost and sad, somber. There was another character we just missed. Hold on. This lady, she looks really cool. We love the gray hair and the red eyes. That's dope. And then this lady is gonna be another character, and that's it. That is Wuthering Waves. So kind of just based off of this, we can determine that it is going to be an open world anime action RPG, and it looks like it's going to have a lot of intense story to it as well. Similarly to, again, Genshin Impact. This might be the competitor we were looking at, actually, because we had been looking at Tower of Fantasy for a little bit, and Tower of Fantasy did look like it would appeal to the same audience that Genshin does, but a lot of people in China, and actually even outside of China, are pretty disappointed with how the game actually turned out. Even though it had a lot of potential, right off the bat, it wasn't amazing. Whereas this game has not yet released yet, so there is a lot of potential for this game to actually end up competing with Genshin Impact and making both games improve and the entire genre improve, right? So this could be very, very good for the gaming space, regardless of whether or not it's gacha. I mean, no one wants to be playing 10 gachas at a time. Most people I know aren't playing gacha because of gambling. They're playing gacha because it's like one of the only sources of anime-styled games that aren't like extremely ruined by Western influence. So yeah, just off the bat, like Wuthering Waves looks incredibly interesting. I'm very excited to see where this game kind of goes, what kind of things we're looking at in the future for this game. The combat looks really interesting. The open world looks great. The characters look great. And I have so much excitement for this game. I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about this game as we get more information, because I cannot undersell how excited I am for this game. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you would enjoy this video and you want to see more Wuthering Waves content, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. I'll be covering it anyways, but you know, it's always good to know that what I'm doing is helpful to you guys. I really want to make sure that I can be a good source of news and content for you. So make sure to subscribe as well if you've enjoyed. Make sure to like the video, and I will catch you guys next time. Ciao guys soon.